Hello, welcome to my review of Spider-Man Homecoming. I just watched it earlier today. I'm going to be doing a non-spoiler review first, and then I'll let you guys know when I'm going to be starting to go into spoilers, and I'll put my hands up, say stop watching here if you haven't seen the movie. Spoilers. So, yeah. So, my first impressions of the movie, and non-spoiler stuff. Spider-Man Homecoming is a good movie. It's it's not a big epic scale, and it's a lot more about his personal life and just his journey to become Spider-Man. So, if you have concerns about the movie being too heavy on Tony Stark, like basically another Iron Man movie, it's not at all. I think the Iron Man is used properly and not overdone. And my impression of the movie, it's good. It's it's not as fun and action packed as say like Guardians or Wonder Woman. It's definitely not as epic as Wonder Woman, but it's funnier. So it has a good balance, and I enjoyed it. I really think I will enjoy it more on consecutive views because there's a lot of characters and a lot of personalities. So those in one sitting with just one movie, kind of, I guess you could say they don't quite sink in. They do a lot of like trying to get you invested in a lot of different characters. So it's something you wouldn't normally see in a movie, and something you'd see more in a Netflix show or just general TV show with a lot of episodes and more time for you to spend with those characters, which we are going to be coming back and we're going to see those characters again. So that'll be nice. There's a lot of interesting characters that pop up and actors. So hopefully we see most of them again. And I guess one thing I would say about this movie is the way it's directed and the way they directed the acting. It's very much to where all the characters feel like real life people. It's not, you're not looking at those are actors. They're saying things that professionals writers wrote from. They say things that normal people would say and do things normal people would do, and even they inject quite a bit of just normal awkwardness, and it makes it feel pretty real. So that is an interesting part of the movie for me. All the CG, I would say that the Iron Man CG wasn't that great, but most of it is just awesome. So yeah, I like the movie, and I'm kind of looking forward to watching it again with just more casually and not I like watching movies in theaters. You get the big epic experience, but for that kind of intimate feeling with the movie where you get to react to without people around, and watch it casually or watch it over rewind and stuff, I feel like this movie will be better like that. So I'm actually looking forward to when it comes out on DVD so I can watch it again. And I'm going to start going into spoilers now, so if you don't want any spoilers, stop watching and tune in when you have. So, like I said, spoilers. So the movie starts out in a really cool way where it's basically a video journal of him, being Spider-Man, and shows how he is a kid and he's not taking it as seriously as an adult would, where an adult would see it as a job and not as something to kind of goof around about, and would be a little bit more self-conscious about the things they do and stuff and their image. But he's very much just enjoying it in the beginning, like in his video journals. It's pretty funny. There's a lot of just real life humor in there, and And it's kind of nice that we didn't go into the origin story. We kind of get anything in whatever needs explaining. Ned is basically there as our person to explain things to. Like, these are his powers and stuff. And it's really interesting they decided to have so much of Spider-Man's, like the Spider-Man we know, like so much of his powers and techniques and stuff in this movie are coming from the suit. So it's more about technology, which is very interesting. It's not something I've seen before in Spider-Man movie. And you could say that he owes a lot, that suit gives him a lot. He can do more as Spider-Man than if you were just, being a normal, and we see it when he's in his old school cheap costume, and he has a lot less he can do with it. So the suit is an interesting addition, and it being Stark tech and everything. I thought that the take on the villain was pretty dang interesting, and that he's not a good person, but he's not evil. He's not trying to destroy the world because he wants to destroy the world. He just wants money. And, maybe he's on a power trip, but he's not, he's not, it's not like Lex Luthor or something like that, or, just someone trying to destroy the world. He's just a guy trying to steal some crap. And it's pretty appropriate for Spider-Man's first villain from, not to save the world. And I really hope they do that with these, is that he shouldn't have world-saving responsibilities from the get-go. He should be working up into more important things each time. And stopping a thief, heist, is pretty good place to start. We don't see that in a lot of superhero movies. Like in Deadpool, we saw, the stakes were just personal. But in this, it was just, him doing the right thing. And the Vulture was handled very well. I like the tech aspect of it. Once again, everything's coming down to tech in this almost. And we don't really see an emphasis on Peter's powers that much, actually. He climbs on stuff, but it's not made into that big of a deal. And he has super strength, and they never really touch on and explain that he does. So I guess anyone that wasn't familiar with Spider-Man would be confused, and I don't think that's a problem, because adults know exactly who Spider-Man is, and little kids aren't gonna, they're just gonna go along with, apparently he has super strength. Well, good. Like I said, the Vulture was handled very well, and Michael Keaton was great. I liked the little part at the end with him where he basically was like, if I knew Spider-Man, I would have killed him. And for some reason, keeping his identity secret, like, he would have killed Spider-Man, but him saving him at the end, earned him some respect or something. So I'm curious if we will see the Vulture back again. It would be good. It would be a shame to not, with it being Michael Keaton. I think they could maybe do some expansion on his powers or something like that. That would be awesome. Like I said in the non-spoiler part, the part Tony Stark played actually felt pretty minimal to me. We get, he's on the peripheral. He's talked about a lot, and he's suits there, and Peter's going through Happy to communicate with Stark, and it's kind of interesting the way they chose to take that relationship, because Tony's like, he's saying he's mentoring him, but he's not doing all that much mentoring. He's doing it from afar, and apparently he's keeping up with what he's actually doing, but he's not really making him aware of it. And I don't understand that. Like, why not let him know that, you are getting the updates, and you are, keeping track of what he's doing and tracking him. Like, it's interesting that he's like seen that he shows up, and I think a lot of it has to do. They didn't really go out and say it, which is kind of disappointing that they didn't. But it would be nice if they kind of had let him and Tony have that moment where he's like, "No, I want to make sure you have a normal life." So it was interesting having the Shocker in there, the very minimal role. I think we are going to see him again, full Shocker fight or something, I was really confused in the post-credit scene who that guy was. I don't know if he's a guy that showed up in a small scene, like the other guy that showed up to talk to the Vulture. I did not know who that was, but I'm jumping to the ending, and there's a couple other things I want to talk about. It was interesting how they took his from the third act, really, after he loses the suit and he's kind of going with I'm going to just go to high school now. And it was really interesting him just showing up and seeing that Michael Keaton is I don't remember the girl's name, but it's her dad. It's one of those things where, everything's interconnected, but this worked because it was like a expansion on the meeting a girlfriend or date's dad, and knowing that he is actually like a villain would make it far more scary, and it was an interesting play on things. And one thing, and there was this big controversy over whether or not Zendaya is Mary Jane, and I don't remember catching her name till the end there, where they say it's Michelle, and then she says they call me MJ sometimes. I honestly don't think she's Mary Jane, because I think it was just a tease to the people that thought she was. But I don't know. Maybe someone confirmed it otherwise, but it doesn't seem like the same character, and I would be disappointed because it's a cool character they made. It's an interesting person, and I'd almost rather it be a completely either someone else from the comics or just a new character. Not everyone has to be Mary Jane. Sure, I would think she would come into it, but I would want that later. I don't want to watch a movie about Peter Parker in high school with like a actual like steamy relationship. That seems like what it would be with Mary Jane, like an intense relationship, which I don't want to watch him do that in high school. I want to see a normal high school relationship where it's awkward and goofy, and you do high school things, not the kind of relationship you have in your early 20s or something. So yeah, that's my thought on that. I don't want her to be Mary Jane, and I don't think that they were making her, but I might be wrong. I don't know if someone said something like confirmed she was. I didn't see her name in the credits. I should have looked for it more. Marisa Tomei was awesome as Aunt May, and I'm in full support of not having her be really old, because it doesn't make sense, and it kind of adds more of a dynamic to it, And Marisa Tomei will be, they will be fairly, she'll be not a senior citizen by the time they're done with these movies, but she won't be young anymore. She's middle-aged now, and that makes sense for an aunt. I think her sibling would have had to have been significantly younger in order for her to be as old as she is in the comics. And I think that's always been kind of a weird plot plot hole in the comics and like the animations and other movies. Like, why is your aunt in her like 70s? I mean, that's old for an aunt at that age. I mean, I'd have to do the math to figure out how old your parents would have had to have been. I guess if your parents had you when they were older, then it's completely possible. But I'm diverging, and we don't need to talk about the age of people's aunts. Yeah, I think it's a fun movie. It's not the best. It's not better than Logan. I don't want to compare it to Wonder Woman because they're just different movies. It's very different from Logan too. Guardians I'd compare it to. This is a tighter plot and everything than Guardians, but Guardians has so much action and just comedy that it's hard. They're different movies. They're all the superhero movies so far this year have been good, and that is awesome. So enjoy all of them. I'm gonna, and I will see you on the next thing I decide to review. Doctor Who's done, so I think I'm gonna start reviewing Game of Thrones. See if there's anything I can react to, and go from there. So if you want to see all that stuff, subscribe and like this video if you liked it, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time.